The Los Angeles Lakers heading into the 2021 NBA season had extremely high expectations. Not only were they coming off a finals victory, they also added guys like Dennis Schroeder, Marc Gasol, and Montrezl Harrell, and many people thought they had the best offseason out of all 30 NBA teams. However, their season would end in a first-round exit. Now, injuries obviously played a massive factor. They were a big factor in the Lakers losing in the first round. However, this team definitely has some questions to answer in the 2021 offseason, and in today's video, I wanted to talk about the Lakers' future and what's next for them and what they should do in the 2021 offseason. Before we get started though, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed, as it really does help out the channel, and also make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoy this type of content, so you do not miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I'll finally do a face reveal. And I also do want to say, from starting with this video and from now on, when I do these what's next videos for NBA teams, I'm gonna switch it up, and rather than go over the roster and then go into the offseason stuff, I'm gonna go straight into the offseason stuff, and we're not gonna go over the roster. I want to try and switch it up. So yeah, with that being said, now let's get our video started. And I want to start out by talking about some of the needs that this Laker team has. One of their needs I do think they have is center play. I do think they could use a little bit better center play, since Marc Gasol, frankly, he was just really disappointing for the Los Angeles Lakers. And Andre Drummond, the Lakers were hoping he could be, an upgrade over him, and Andre Drummond wasn't exactly fantastic for Los Angeles. And then they could also use a third consistent scoring option on this team. Since Anthony Davis, he's pretty injury prone, and having a third consistent scorer not only would be great because you have like two superstars plus a third consistent scorer, so when healthy your lineup's fantastic. But not only that, but in case of LeBron James or Anthony Davis or both, if in worst case scenario you got a third star to try and carry this team. And along with that, they could also use some depth and some shooting. And then the final thing I want to talk about, this isn't much of a need, but this is something I'd really like to see them do. I'd really like to see the Lakers try and acquire a stretch four and then move Anthony Davis to center. If you can't acquire a stretch four, then I guess it's alright if you don't do that. But Anthony Davis, he really dominates when he's playing as a center and not a power forward, and you got a stretch four next to him. he really just dominates, and I feel like that would be great for the Los Angeles Lakers. But who knows if Anthony Davis is willing to do that, and if they can acquire the right personnel to really make that change. But getting to some of their important free agents, they include guys like Alex Caruso, Talen Horton-Tucker, who's a restricted free agent, Dennis Schroeder, Andre Drummond, Montrezl Harrell, who has a player option, and Markieff Morris. Now, they obviously can't bring back everyone, but some of the guys I do think they should bring back is Alex Caruso, who's a pretty good role player and hustle guy. And then you can also, I think they should try and bring back Talen Horton-Tucker, since he's a young guy, so he has decent potential, and he can also be used as a trade asset if you want to try and get a third star. And if you aren't going to trade him, hey, not only is he young, but he can be a good contributor to your team right now. Ben McLemore is also someone I do think the Lakers should try and bring back, since he's a great spot-up shooter and he probably should have been getting minutes in the playoffs. And Markieff Morris is also a guy you might want to consider bringing back, since he's a pretty good 3 and D4 who should be really cheap, but he's not as essential as some of the other guys I mentioned before. As for why I wouldn't bring back some of the guys like Dennis Schroeder and Andre Drummond, Dennis Schroeder, he was kind of disappointing for the Lakers, and Dennis Schroeder might be better off as a sixth man, and there's a good chance that, he wants a lot of money, and if he's asking for too much money, you really shouldn't re-sign him, since he was disappointing for you already. And if he's asking for north of $20 million, you pack his bags up, you sell the home in Los Angeles, and you just say, thanks for your service here, but we're not going to re-sign you. Good luck wherever you go, alright? And Dennis Schroeder, I don't know if you really should, I don't know if they will bring him back, and I don't know if you really should. Plus, he removed Lakers point guard from his Instagram bio, I believe, so maybe that's a signal. But anyways, Andre Drummond, he wasn't fantastic for them, and he might have had his worst career season in 2021, and frankly, he was kind of just unplayable in the playoffs, so no point in really wasting a roster spot with him. But anyways, moving on to some of their possible third score, guys who can fill the need of being a third scorer. Malcolm Brogdon is definitely a guy they could try and target. Now, I don't know if the Indiana Pacers do end up trading him, since they did recently hire Rick Carlisle. I'm actually recording this on the day that they hired him, so maybe they don't want to trade Malcolm Brogdon, but in the event that they do trade Malcolm Brogdon, the Lakers should definitely make a run at him, since he's a solid all-around point guard and is definitely in that, I guess he's definitely close to all-star level at the very least. He can score the ball, obviously, he can shoot well, he play make well, and he's also a pretty solid defensive player. You'd probably have to give up someone like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, maybe you give up Montrezl Harrell, or you give up Kyle Kuzma too, since Kyle Kuzma, he was hilariously bad in the playoffs, so I mean, it would be great if the Lakers could try and get off of him, especially considering the fact that his $13 million a year extension is going to be kicking in soon. So yeah, anyways, moving on to my second guy who could fill that void is Kyle Lowry, and that would probably happen via a sign-in trade. And Kyle Lowry, he's definitely better than Malcolm Brogdon, and he would be fantastic for this team. Not only is he a great leader to try and help rally this team in case, LeBron James and Anthony Davis do get injured, but Kyle Lowry's obviously, good at, scoring, shooting, and he's just a really good two-way guard and would be really good on this team, along with, the other guys on this list. But Kyle Lowry, he would be fantastic, and I mean, I guess it could be kind of like a makeup for Lakers fans, considering the fact that they did not trade him before. Now, maybe the Lakers are, this time, are willing to give up Talen Horton-Tucker, so yeah, anyways, moving on to the third and final guy who I believe can fill that role of being the third consistent scoring option could be someone like Mike Conley. He had a career year with the Utah Jazz and made his first All-Star team, now albeit as a replacement, but he was still great for the Utah Jazz. This would happen via a sign-in trade, and I mean, if you can't get any of those guys, then Mike Conley would definitely be a really good option. Now, I do think he's probably the worst player out of all of these guys, but he's still a solid player, and he definitely can fill that role as a third consistent scoring option / shot creator. Now, for some possible center free agents, I think someone like JaVale McGee could be pretty decent. I mean, my Nuggets got traded for him, and I mean, unfortunately, we didn't use him a lot. Now, I mean, it's pretty complicated, but JaVale McGee wouldn't be bad. Dwight Howard and Nerlens Noel would be fantastic. Now, Nerlens Noel would be kind of expensive, so who knows if they can afford him, considering how good he was for the New York Knicks. So I'm not 100% sold on, I don't know about Nerlens Noel, I'm not totally certain that he would, sign with the Lakers, but I mean, Nerlens Noel would definitely be very nice. But if they could bring back Dwight Howard, that would be great. Dwight Howard, I mean, he was really good for the Lakers in a very pivotal part of their 2020 championship run, so if you could bring him back, that would be very good. Now, as for some other free agent targets, I think Alec Burks would be really good. He's a pretty good spot-up shooter, and he could provide some depth. Reggie Bullock was also great for the Knicks this past season. I mean, he would also provide shooting and depth. Tony Snell was also had a pretty good year for the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, you could probably, Tony Snell, he would definitely provide depth and shooting. And Nick Batum, I mean, if you want, as I alluded to earlier, talking about the Anthony Davis at the 5 and put a stretch 4, I think Nick Batum could definitely, fill that, would be very good in that type of system. He actually played small ball 4 for the Clippers this past season, and honestly, Nick Batum, I mean, he had a great season for the Clippers. I mean, he's been really good for the Clippers so far this year. I mean, the Clippers season isn't over as I record this, but yeah, Nicholas Batum, he would be a really nice free agent pickup. Jeff Green would also be a pretty decent pickup. Now, he is pretty old, but Jeff Green would definitely be a pretty solid pickup. But aside from that, I mean, my personal thoughts on what I do think the Lakers should do, they should definitely go back to becoming being one of the best teams in the league again as they become fully healthy. So obviously, try to stay healthy, get rest up and all. They definitely do need to address some things, as I said before. They should try and get a third consistent scoring option and a star-esque player, a better backup center, and definitely some shooting. And I'd probably try and trade guys like Kyle Kuzma, and I'd probably also try and trade Montrezl Harrell. And if he does, I do want to say, if he does end up declining his player option, you could probably use that cap space and just try and sign free agents. But honestly, that's kind of all I have to say for the Lakers. Stay healthy. healthy, get a third consistent scoring option, get some better center play, and then just get some good depth in shooting. But with that being said, that will be the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. It truly means a lot to me. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed, as it really does help out the channel, and also make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and you guys enjoyed this type of content, so you do not miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I'm finally gonna do a face reveal. But with that being said, I'm out, you guys.